Hello there. Welcome. Happy full moon. I'm coming to you a day before. And I like to do my forecasting as close to the moons as possible so that I'm right in the energy as we're living it. And as you can see behind me, and I left it there on purpose, we're in a full Pisces moon, and Pisces is all about creativity and trusting your intuition and just going with a flow that might seem a little chaotic, but if it feels right to you, then it is. So I was just given, I was riding my bike around and somebody had a garage sale. Somebody had just moved into a house. I didn't know. And I saw tons of great stuff on the lawn. So I stopped. And it turns out that we had a lot in common with our interests, and she just gave me bags full of beautiful fabrics. So I'm in the midst of going through many, many, many beautiful scraps and clothes and beads and buttons and you name it, scrapbooking stuff, and because I love that stuff. And we're heading into fall now here. So, there's going to be more nights on the couch and more quiet time, introspective time, the equinox. When we hit the full moon on the 20th, we're at the fall equinox and we're going back into the yin phase of the year, which is the feminine energy. So things get darker, cooler, quieter. And so for me, it's a perfect time to be, doing little creative projects. So maybe you're feeling a little bit of this too. Maybe you're feeling creative, or maybe you're feeling like a little bit of chaos around you. I find the energy is still so intense. I keep waiting for it to calm down a little, but it hasn't. I would say, yeah, I've been feeling it since the end of July, and especially that period during the Lionsgate phase, early August, around that full moon. Very intense, and it still is, even though it's morphing. I think it's calming down slightly, but it's still quite intense. And I mean that in the sense of, like I said, this feeling of, oh, how do you pinpoint that? You could call it an inner chaos. You could call it a transformation cycle. Maybe it's just we've had enough time during this COVID phase to realize that things aren't going back. It's a new world, and it just throws people's sense of security or structure, the goals they had, all kinds of decisions that maybe you thought before the pandemic were just locked and loaded in place. And now it feels pretty much like this pile on my couch. It's just been thrown all over. And it's, a good time to rethink your life when there's uncertainty and chaos. You're either in fear because of that, or you can try to embrace that it's a good time to rethink and re-envision. If this room was all perfect and orderly and clean right now, I wouldn't be maybe as creative minded as when it's in a little bit of a mess, right? In order for creativity to work, it can't have too many rigid parameters or controls or have everything too pristine. It doesn't really work. People feel more free to do something different or make a mess or do something that doesn't work and throw it out and try again when the environment doesn't seem so orderly that they will disrupt something. They want to feel free to explore. So in general, a Pisces moon is a really great time to be doing that. So let's take a look at the chart for this moon, and then we'll do the tarot as usual and readings for your sign. So if you want to look for the readings for your sign, the timing for your sign is going to be listed below in the comments. If you want to follow me, that'd be great. Like and a follow, I'd appreciate it. Even a share, a like, follow, and share, I'd be super happy. If you enjoy my content. And also, you can see me, you can reach me or add yourself to my pages. I have an Intuition Circles group on Facebook, and you can find me at Clairvoyant Medium Catherine Allen on Facebook, Catherine River Rain on Instagram, and my website is riverrain.com. So if you're looking for any guidance personally or a session afterwards, or courses or lots of stuff, I have got books coming out. I've got a book already, and I've got another one coming out in the spring. So I'm hoping if you connect to this, that you'll connect to me in those ways. So let's start with the chart now. And as I mentioned, usually I haven't looked at this in advance. This is my cold read of the chart, first time around here. And first feeling it gives me is that there are areas that are strongly flowing, and there's areas of conflict in this chart. It's giving me a feeling of a little bit of a tug of war inside because of that. Like, you know, the last forecast I did, the planets were really nice, and I felt like an ease in how that could all manifest for us. This one feels more like a bit of a push. You have to sort of push yourself to or apply yourself or stay more focused to reap the positive flow, because the conflictual stuff is more heightened in this chart. So let's just dig in to what that is. So we have the sun in Virgo still, 28 degrees. The moon is at 28 degrees Pisces. The sun still has Mars conjunct the sun. Mars has moved into Libra instead of Virgo. So it's slightly less, slightly less harsh than when Mars is exactly in the same sign as the sun. It can be really energizing, or it can be self-destructive, because Virgo is the sign of, like, putting names on things and putting things in boxes and categories, and, really analyzing and refining down to the last little dot, But when you put Mars there, you get like, a compulsion to do that. So you could get anything with Mars and Virgo, from some very perfectionist energy, or you could get really sort of very critical, picky, even sometimes, nasty with Mars and Virgo. So when the sun is conjunct Mars, sometimes it gives people a boost of energy, and other times it's hard for them to not, like, be critical of themselves, self-sabotage, be really hard on yourself. Or you get that from people around you. You can feel with Mars conjunct the sun, people are attacking you or challenging you or picking on you, So it's not in Virgo, but it's still close enough to the sun that might be going on. However, Mars has gone into Libra, which is more, again, more artistic, conceptual, more charming, more diplomatic, a little more superficial and social, keeping it lighter so that people get along. And it's mediating. So in this case, it gives me more of a feeling of energizing you to get some things done, or get some things organized, get some things cleaned up. It is that time of year as well. We feel summer waning. Our plants are maybe going to come inside soon. Our patios will be packed up. we'll be preparing and closing the windows more often, turning the heat on, so, if soon enough, shifting the way we cook and our meals, and the daylight is, it's darker, so we're starting to feel tired more early. So there's a lot of shifting going on that way, and usually that brings out the desire to, I find, to reorganize and cleanse, or go through your stuff and give some things away, or just rethink how do you want your fall to look in your home. Your routines might change, and Mars in Libra might be good for, wanting to beautify it at the same time. So we've got some really nice aspects that are hitting that Sun Mars, and we've got some difficult ones. And there's multiple this time compared to our last month's chart. So the basic one, of course, is that the moon is opposite Sun Mars, and the moon is at 28 degrees Pisces, and Neptune is at 21 degrees Pisces. So when you have the moon and Neptune together, this is completely opposite to what I just said about Sun Mars. Moon Neptune people are going to be very creative and very psychic. Usually there could be a lot of dreaming. There could be a lot of visionary energy, like truly able to tap into another world, another life, another dimension even. It would usually be somebody I would expect to be quite psychic themselves. They might be channeling, they might be, like I said, receiving it in their dreams more. So you might find also your dreams are heightened lately. I've been in a period of dreaming, like I can't believe it's the longest period I remember in a long time where there are regular dreams that I wake up and remember. It's been going on pretty much since that end of July. But Moon Neptune could definitely give you some heightened states of insight, some flashes of inspiration or intuition, some strong dreams. So it's also happening in the 12th house, which if you're in the Eastern Standard Time, that applies. Based on where it's placed, it could end up still being in the 12th house, maybe if you're in Central Time, or why am I blanking out? If you're an hour, I'm going to cheat. If you're an hour before or after Eastern Standard, it might still be in the 12th because it's a really huge 12th house this time. And the 12th house also just awakens the psyche, awakens what is normally hidden or protected, because it's the house of the unconscious. So Moon Neptune going through there, all manner of things can happen. Besides what I said about inspired dreams or insights, it can also mean, for some people, like a manic feeling. It can awaken, sort of internal memories, flashbacks, monsters in that sense too. It can be, the emotion can feel heightened to the point of crazy for some people, because it's in the 12th. For some people, they'll suppress and they won't feel it at all. They'll just be more mellow. Other people, it might be awakening something that you long haven't been dealing with or thinking about, and all of a sudden, there it is. You just get a giant random flash or dream. And again, it also bodes well for people that are more introvert, solitary, loner, or just needing to go off and do something alone, like whether you cozy into your house, whether you want to go on a retreat, whether you just need less social and screen time. Like I said, completely opposite to the Virgo, Mars and Libra thing, which will be out there, raking leaves and saying hello in the neighborhood as you beautify your home, or will be getting together with people and canning your vegetables and fruits for the season, or, socializing with friends over a nice dinner during the season. Moon Neptune people are going to be like, you know what, I'll just be alone. Leave me alone. I'm good. I've got plenty to do in my head and in my house. So that's a big push and pull, right? The other thing about having the moon opposite Mars. It's Sun Mars, but this is another aspect of self-sabotage sometimes. The moon is your emotional needs, your inner life, and Mars is how you act and go get what you want. So when the moon and is opposite Mars, the way you go about getting what you want and asserting yourself goes against what you actually need. And that's how it can sabotage. So how would that play out in this case? Mars and Libra will go get what they need by talking to multiple people, consulting, asking opinions, weighing things, socializing, asking around, networking, dropping by, making the phone calls, maybe sketching it out, listening to everybody's opinion, back and forth, weighing, and Mars and Libra will keep doing that and being, putting on their full charm and ability to get people to talk until they sort of have enough information to weigh, and then they'll eventually, hopefully, decide. But Mars in Libra doesn't tend to decide. It's not very assertive as a Mars. So it's endlessly weighing things. Now, the moon in Pisces is sort of going to walk in and go, I don't know, I just feel that. Okay, right? Mars and Libra is like, but we could talk to them, or we could ask them, or maybe we'll go to that book, or maybe there's information over there, and then we'll see. Like, let's talk about it some more. Moon in Pisces is like, well, my gut's telling me to do this, so just kills it, doesn't it? So you can see, even though these, Pisces and Libra are pretty mild as far as opposing each other compared to other signs, you can still see how there'd be a push-pull in there, right? And so Mars in opposite the moon, you can sometimes sabotage yourself. So we want to be careful of that during this full moon time, that whatever you feel compelled to do to honor yourself, you got to ask, do I really, really need that? Do I really need that? Or am I, self-sabotaging by procrastinating, canceling things, not participating, when maybe it might be good for you to go out of your comfort zone. So that's one aspect. And then the other aspect that is a bit difficult this full moon is that Neptune on the moon, like I said, can be heightened or manic kind of feeling emotions. It can also be a lot of foggy and confusion, because Neptune is like, the mist on the river, fog. It's beautiful. It feels magical. You don't know what's in there. And you're like, ooh, this is the mystery of life. Intriguing. Wow. Wonder. But it also means like you can't see and you still have to navigate. You don't know whether something's going to jump out at you in the fog or whether you're being guided on some mystical journey. And Neptune is like, we don't know which it is. So the moon in Neptune wants things to be mystical and magical, but could also quite easily idealize something or someone, put them on a pedestal, make things seem magic when it really isn't. So that's where we want to be careful a bit too. And when you've got the moon and Neptune opposite that Mars, there's a strong caution of self-deception or people pulling the wool over your eyes. As we would say, in the magic community, there's sort of a glamour around, you could cast a glamour around yourself, or somebody might have it around themselves. So it's just a time to be a little more cautious, not to put anybody or any situation on too idealized a pedestal until you've really tested the water with them. Or if you have an inspired vision or dream, like I said, or like ooh, that would be amazing. And then you start doing it. Maybe you haven't thought it through in a very grounded way. And it's hard to say with these planets. Sometimes your gut feeling is strong enough that you know that it will manifest itself. It'll happen regardless of what logic says. And other times, no, you're just like down the rabbit hole. But you will know, because if you start sharing those ideas and people's feedback is always flat or cautionary with you, then it could be telling you. So just to look out for that, this full moon. Now, where it is working well is that we have the Sun and Mars making great aspects to Saturn, Pluto, and the North Node. So this is probably leaning us towards more your Virgo and Libra side. So practical tasks, discernment, socializing, weighing things, gathering info, because those are the best aspects in the chart. So you have the Sun Mars is also, it's trine, making a great aspect to Pluto. So when Pluto is harmonious with Sun and Mars, you can get a lot done. If you're disciplined and you know what you want to get done, and you're going to have like the energy of a steam train to plow through it and get it done. So like I mentioned, around here anyway, where I am, pretty soon people will be like doing garden stuff and preparing things for, preparing the fields, they're preparing your gardens for winter. Not quite yet, but it's coming. So that, that's a lot of planning and physical energy to prepare, bring your plants in, or prepare the soil for next year, or build things, all kinds of stuff, putting, maybe you're putting bags around trees, like all kinds of stuff for protections and plans for the winter, to prepare for winter, prepare for fall. It also could give a lot of steam to maybe some socializing, some last, end of summer, equinox, harvest time socializing period. Maybe some of you are planning for Canadian Thanksgiving. It's a bit early for the American one, but maybe some of us up here are planning for that. So it's looking good for throwing yourself into the practical and plans. It's also connecting to Saturn. Again, Saturn will just sort of solidify and give some structure to things. It solidifies what I just said as well. Gives some discipline to it. And it's also trine the North Node in Gemini. So that bodes very well again for the social aspect. So overall, I mean, obviously lots of people are introverts and just want to stay home and read books or escape into your own bubble. And that's fine. But the stronger energy of this chart would say, get outside, meet people again, keep connecting, and take a look at what tasks you need to get done and organized. So what else do we have that's happy in here? All right, we have the moon and Neptune are also connecting well to that Pluto. So this is an interesting thing too. That calls me back to this overall feeling I first mentioned before the chart, that we're just in such a transformative period in our history, I think, on this planet. COVID kicked it off, but obviously there's so many layers of what it's provoking people to rethink about their desires and possibilities in life. It's certainly transforming a lot of our relationships. And Pluto is right at the top of this chart, meaning like when you cast the chart, it's the highest point of the chart. So it's at 24 degrees Capricorn, and it's just calling us to really take the time to think about what transformation do I want to make in my life. And if you look at the other things I've mentioned, the moon and Neptune in the 12th house might be helping you envision that future in a meditative or, a vision board, or getting flashes of what you would like to see next in your life, where you see yourself, what physical, mental, emotional, career, love transformations you see yourself. You could get it from that psychic, intuitive angle. And then because it's connecting to all that Sun, Mars, get out there, plan it, get her done. You can come at it from both angles in a positive way in this chart if your main focus is your transformation. What transformation do you want to see happen in your life? How can you start enacting it? We also have Jupiter making good aspects to Mercury here, so that just bodes really well again for communication and talking to people, for writing, for a flow of thought. It's especially when there's that Gemini North node that would say get out there and be versatile and experimental and chit chat with the whole neighborhood and see what everybody's doing. Have multiple people, multiple tribes, not just one. Jupiter trine Mercury, lots of talking this full moon for sure. So that bodes well. And Mercury isn't quite retrograde yet. So it goes retrograde on the 27th. So we're in the pre-shadow. So we might have started to see some Mercury retrograde traits. Like I'm starting to see weird things happening. Computers are freezing and stuff like that already. But in other words, milk it right now, have fun while you can and think about how you want your life to transform. So let's take a look now at our cards. And I think I'm going to use a different deck than usual for our predictions for this month. It's a deck I haven't used a lot yet, but I really love it and it's beautiful. It's called, it's called the Light Seers Tarot. If you end up really liking the images on it, it's a beautiful deck. All right, so let's take a look at some tarot for how this full moon will go. I don't know if you can hear the kids screaming outside, but they're having a great time out there. And I'm just going to light some incense here. I've got some Palo Santo. I love that. And it's in an incense form, like a stick instead of the wood. So it's interesting, making the wood chips into a stick. Alrighty, let's see. So our first card is the Six of Cups. So look how lovely that is, little kid and his dog grows up to be the man that loves his old dog. It's a card of love and loyalty and pleasure. And, it's beautiful how the little boy image and the little bowls just get bigger and bigger, and then they get older and they're still together. They still have a stronger bond than ever. So this is lovely message for us with our relationships, embracing the people you feel close to and the people that you've known for a long time. Be happy for the evolution of those relationships over time. Our next card is the Two of Swords. Very interesting. Usually this card is a woman blindfolded with her back to the beach, to the tide. And, it has a different feeling in the Rider-Waite than this one for me, because she's got these crows that are sort of flying around her. Hard to say whether they are tying her up or trying to untangle her. But she doesn't give me a feeling she's too worried about being blindfolded. It looks like she's trusting. She's trusting what's going on. And I can tell you that the crow shows up. You see my crow feathers over there in my basket on the wall. Crows show up during times of great transformation as well. If you suddenly start seeing a lot of crows, I find it's tended to reveal that there's a major life change coming within several months to a year. So to me, again, this seems like she's blinded, but maybe she needs to be in order for that transformation to happen. We're not always able, we can't see everything, or we wouldn't be fully living the changes. If we knew everything that was to come, we would be watching it like a spectator. We wouldn't be emotional about it. So then you would bypass living through whatever the lesson is. Sometimes you need to be blind, not know, not see, so that you're fully living it, and then you trust your changes and choices. So our next card is very nice. We have the Ace of Pentacles. So you see like two hands offering a coin or a mandala or something. I mean, it's a pentacle. It's supposed to be a coin. And it's interesting because this pentacle has roots. You see these roots coming down. So it's like something about to be planted, like an offering. And often the Ace of Pentacles can be money that comes in or a new job. Again, lots of planting imagery is coming to mind for this moon. So maybe think about what you would like to be planting, what seeds. It's hard for me to stress how important this is, this feeling of transformation. You know, we all crave stability. We all want to know things are secure. But right now, I just find there's so much going on that's throwing things up in the air. And yeah, it can be really upsetting and scary. It can also be turned into something really exciting, because you don't know what kind of other things other people are changing as well around you. It's not like the world is static and it's only you going through this. Everyone is going through this. So just think of all those little micro decisions and changes everyone is making, and everyone is affecting everybody somehow. It's an enormously creative time for you to be thinking about, okay, this is what I would like to do with my life. Before, there was just so many things sort of set in place. It is what it is, and you had to like go the long way maybe. Or we sort of knew what time would take what. And now it's like the rules are all changing in our society. Everything's changing. Timing is changing. So if you know what you want, you can probably get there quicker and be more creative about it. Oh boy. Okay. We have the Three of Swords. So that's the grieving card, as you can clearly see. Now, I will mention that, you know, in any change and transformation, even when it's amazingly good, there will still be grief, because there's always an old life you're leaving behind. Even if the new one is wonderful, it's still normal to feel grief that the old one is ending. So if you are struggling with any kind of grieving right now, I hope you reach out to somebody. Then we have the Two of Pentacles. So we've got a couple of twos in here. Two of Pentacles is usually just talks about the yin and the yang and change up and down. This one I love because she's sort of spinning these discs or purses or whatever. Yeah, it looks like a purse. One is a purse with a Looks like a pentacle, and the other one has a pentagram, a pentacle on it as well. And I love that she's just being playful. It's sort of like accepting this dance of life, of things being up and down and in constant motion. And she looks like she's the center of the change, and everything sort of spins around her. But she looks very content and at peace with that, right? Because she's dancing it. Our next card is the Fool. And I love the image of the Fool on this deck because she's doing one of those trust games, you know, where you fall backwards and people catch you. In this case, she's falling backwards and she's got crystals in her hand and a wand, and she's falling backwards into a matrix down here of sacred geometry. So this person knows that she can trust the universe to have her back. She can trust that she's falling into something higher than herself. And the Fool is always about having a vision of the future, a vision of what you want. It's not about like seeing it like, oh, I have a predictive vision, that's what's going to happen. The Fool is more coming from you. I want to be, I don't know, living by the seaside, and this is the lifestyle I want, and this is the kind of social life I see myself having, you know, dinners on somebody's boat or what. It's coming from your vision of, that's my vision, that's the life I'd like to live, comes from you. But the Fool card is like, she's just going, I have my tools, I trust the universe, I'm just going to let myself lean and fall into my vision. Pretty powerful Fool card. Ah, nice. And then we have the Empress card next, which you see she's pregnant with the world. She's got these beautiful sort of tree or plant-like things growing out of her hair. She's got a school of fish making a sort of like a shawl around her back. It's a beautiful card, and you see the moon and all of the little tiny bits or stars or whatever of the moon just circling, connecting her womb to the moon. It's an ultra feminine card. And to me, that would be, with this reading, it would mean that you need to nurture yourself. You need that mothering energy. If you don't get it from your own mother, or you could get it from friends that are motherly, or otherwise we have to mother ourselves. But it also would say to, whatever your vision is of that new life, to nurture it like a baby, and to understand it could take that 9 months. There's a period of gestation before you birth your new life. So this would all be about protecting that dream or idea or vision as if it's a baby inside you, and nurture that. Yeah, our next card is the Seven of Pentacles. And you can see that this guy is doing some sort of energy work on his plants. And the roots are going quite deep, even though they're a little bit interwoven and twisted up a little. And then these 7 spheres below that they're connecting to. It's a very complex plant then, isn't it? If it's got 7 spheres and different root systems all twisting up and into one sort of bonsai-looking plant. And he looks like he's doing some sort of Reiki or energy work on the plant with his eyes closed, trying to bring into fruition quite a complex plan. Yeah, it's a very different card than usual. And I really like this because he just looks very focused and serious about and sure what he has planted. And there's multiple things that have to come together to grow into that one bonsai. And the fact that he's trusting and using energy healing to bring that about, there's no force. It's really a lovely message for all of us as we re-envision our transformation. Transformation doesn't have to be horrible and, and it doesn't have to be some crazy upheaval or drama. Change can still feel really powerful, but it doesn't have to be with drama. It can also be really liberating. And then our last card is the 10 of Cups, which is always like happy family, happy couple. We're back to those cups that are all swirling around the rainbow as they, a loving couple watching their kids play, protected by this beautiful stream of rainbow light and abundance. That's just a beautiful reading. So if you're finding yourself getting any kind of flashes or insights as we did this, you might want to write them down, keep them in mind, and think about how you can build the vision of what you want next into something that feels very loving and peaceful and content, just like the cards are showing us, and how you can protect your ideas and nurture your ideas and nurture the people around you, nurture theirs as well. It's a really lovely reading. All right, we're going to pick cards now for each sign. And I'm going to ask the question for each sign, what would transform your life the most right now? Okay, so what aspect or what thing, what thoughts, what changes, what aspect of life would provoke your transformation the most right now? So let's take a look for Aries. All right, Aries, your card is the 8 of Wands. So the thing that would provoke the most transformation for you would have to do with being spontaneous, athletic, adventurous, bold, reaching upwards for the light. This card can also sometimes mean adventure and travel. And if it doesn't resonate as travel for you for various reasons, think about the adventure side. Maybe you can go take a day trip. Maybe you can decide you're going to hike somewhere you've never been. It's sort of a card of like challenging yourself to go further or higher or faster, or more intensely than before, and doing it with, this bold, pioneering, adventuring kind of spirit. It's all looking upwards towards the light. And it's also, there's 8 wands. You might not be doing it alone. You might be doing it with people. So if it's been a while since you did anything bold or adventurous, that will provoke the most transformation for you right now, Aries. All right, Taurus. Taurus, your card is 6 of Wands. So what would provoke your transformation the most feels to me, 6 of Wands is usually a card of victory. She's making the V for victory. And it almost looks like there's a double V, There's one V, there's another V, and then her arms are making a V. You need to have some sort of win at something. So that's sort of a complex message to interpret then. Like, how can you give yourself a win, right? It depends on what you're thinking of, whether you get a win, right? Sometimes you can't force people to acknowledge something or give you stuff or, make you win. But maybe it's about something that you're doing to yourself. Are you, I mentioned the self-sabotaging thing in the chart. Ask if you're sabotaging yourself in a way that it seems like you're never quite getting that satisfaction or that win or that recognition. Are there things that you're doing or that others are maybe doing, towards you, but still stems from us? Are your expectations realistic about what you're doing so that you're sabotaging yourself by expecting too much or maybe too little? So it's, you succeed at something, but it's unsatisfying. I'm getting a feeling it's about like readjusting your expectations and behaviors to set yourself up to win, make things a little easier for you to feel like, yeah, I did it. I did it. I got it. Because those wins will just give you more confidence to do the bigger things you want to do. And the victory card is very good that you will get them. All right, Gemini. Your card is the Page of Cups. It's a funny looking card. I never saw that. So you've got somebody's shoes. There's a little pig there with wings and a bowl and somebody's shoes. So that's a funny message, sort of like when pigs fly. Then you've got somebody making that heart shape with their two hands, but it's like in a shadow behind him. And I can't quite tell if that's a little animal or what that is. Now, the Page of Cups is usually like a young, sensitive guy, and he is going to be sort of in his daydreams a lot. He might be a bit escapist, like always in his head and doesn't apply it. So for me, it gives me that feeling of a dreamer with lots of ideas, and you sort of look at it like, okay, how realistic is his idea when pigs can fly? I don't know. What would transform your life the most then would be, since you are a Gemini and you like to do multiple things in multiple aspects, we've got all of these multiple things going on in the card too. There's a need to integrate things. There's a need to what pulls this whole card together? What pulls you all together with your aspirations? Are you in your head somewhere else and then your real life is very different, and then you're torn by, these two sides of you or these two lives in a way that you feel you're living? Or so there needs to be some thought as far as how can you integrate all of those sides of you and those different things you want into something a little more singular and achievable. Oh, I never saw this card before, so that was interesting. Cancer. What would give you the most transformation right now, Cancers? We have the Ten of Pentacles. Oh, money. Money'd be nice, huh? Sorry, I'm laughing. I'm just like, anyway, it's a beautiful card. Look at that. You've got a mature couple. You've got their kids playing around. You've got the loyal dog down there at the bottom. You also have this wall hanging or art and lanterns and beads. And then in the center of it, you have the Kabbalah, the tree of life. So even though this card typically means a chunk of money, so it can mean getting paid for something in a chunk, one big check, investment money. Some people, it means benefits that come to you. Sometimes it's inheritance money. So that could be in the cards for you. That would certainly transform your life if you get a chunk of money, how you use it. But the card's deeper than that. The tree of life is, very telling with all these family members, and everybody has their little pentacles everywhere. It's like, everybody's group resources and how it all comes together in a family or a community. And the tree of life, it's sort of hard unless we know, well, what path on the tree of life are we working on? What lessons are we working on? But it would suggest stuff about family and your ancestry. It would suggest stuff about who is your tribe, who is your family, who is your community, and what resources do you bring? What resources do you share? What do they bring to you? So I would say, Cancer, what transforms your life the most would be, acquiring more material resources, thinking hard about how you use them, and connecting to your family or community. Which is a very Cancerian message anyway, but very interesting card. There's a lot of joy in that card too, though, which is very, very nice. So it'll be rewarding if you do extend and connect yourself. All right, let's look at Leos. All right, Leos, you have the 5 of Cups. So this is typically about emotional disappointments, sometimes ruptures in relationships. Sometimes it's an actual breakup or a hiatus or a disappointment in someone. This is not a very Leo-like card, right? It's all blue instead of fiery. It's a person who's sitting alone, sort of staring into like a dark hole. She's got a basket or a cup beside her that's full of stuff, but it looks like, her other resources are being dumped down this drain. But there's also light at the bottom of this tunnel too, so it's funny. She just sort of looks sad, and she's trying to process a disappointment. So I would say, Leo, that might be what transforms you the most right now, is take some time out and acknowledge some of your disappointments with life or the world or with somebody. It's not a huge grieving card like the 3 of Swords was. It's more of like a sad ennui kind of feeling. It'll pass, but it might mean that you need to let yourself be in that blue mood for a little while, just to rebalance something. Like, don't suppress if you're grieving or disappointed. Let yourself feel it so you can be honest about what changes you want to make next. Okay, Virgos. Virgo, your card is the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands. And it's interesting they chose to make the Knight female. It's usually a young male. Now she's drumming in creating flames with her drum, creating fire. Look how joyful she is. She's a rock star with her drum here, and the horse is dancing to her drum. So this is somebody who's, taming a horse. It's interesting. This is somebody, she's just so in her zone with her drumming right now, she doesn't care. So that is a beautiful Virgo message, right? Usually Virgo would, it's hard sometimes for Virgo to let go and get into that kind of zone. But that's what would transform you the most, Virgo, is just let go and do whatever it takes to get into your zone like she is. What things do you do? Maybe you need to dance or drum or sing. But think about, what activities do you do where you just forget time and space? You forget what other people are thinking. You forget your to-do list. You're in the zone, because that joy and that being in the zone is what's going to transform you. And maybe I don't know, maybe you will awaken or tame a horse with that energy. Maybe that's somebody significant in your life, or maybe that's just representing a strong will or desire in you that is unleashed. But yeah, what a great message. Like, think about what gets you in the zone and do it. Wow. All right, Libras. Libra, your message is, the Magician. It's also a very different magician than usual. Usually we see a big shiny magician, showing his face, showing his robes. Look at me, look what I can do. This is a quiet magician. The infinity symbol on the hood. He's not looking at us. Doesn't have an altar. Doesn't need one. He's sending this energy. So he's very aware of energy work, whether it's Reiki or something else, but he knows how to use energy work and guide with his hands. And he's sending it down and around. And if you look how beautiful that is, you could sort of see it swirling around and making the infinity symbol around him, as well as wearing it on the hood. This is a person who's humble and more behind the scenes, not showy, not an ego card, but this is a person who understands how to use energy and understands the cosmos and how to use the energy of life. So for you, Libra, this is what would transform you the most, is to really pull back and get a strong sense of your beliefs and how you think the universe works, and operate behind the scenes. Ooh, that's a big task. But I love that message for you, Libra. Okay. Scorpios. Seven of Swords, and we've got the Crow. The Crow is screaming. A few crows and feathers are falling. And, many times the Seven of Swords is represented like a thief. So you see he has a knife. Hard to say whether he has, he's carrying feathers away. Hard to say whether he has hurt another crow. Let's pray for him that he didn't, because crows have an excellent memory and they would gang up and attack him if they ever saw him again. So this is a heavy message, especially when I'm saying it for a Scorpio. That's the shadow side of Scorpio, right? Is revenge sometimes. Seven of Swords usually for me is a card of moving and moving on, moving away, walking away, when things are sort of futile. But in this case, knowing what we know about the crow being so related to profound transformations, and that it's screaming at us in the foreground, I would say this is a message that your life's about to go through a big transformation in the next few months. And I would also just maybe, even though the sun is shining and illuminating this little thief with the knife, I don't know. You might just want to be careful of your entourage. Trust that if you don't get a good vibe about something or somebody, you might be instrumental in protecting yourself or others if you sense this kind of influence in your midst. Otherwise, I'd say like there's a big transformation coming in your life with moving away or moving on. Wow, feels a little ominous, I have to say. Sagittarius. Sag, your message is, we come back to that Six of Cups. That's nice. What would transform you the most is loyalty. Yeah. That test of time, growing through the years with people, could also be a message to go back into your own childhood, since there's the little boy and the dog. Could be a message for your pets, to take good care of your pets, take a look at what they might need from you, or spend more time with them. Otherwise, I would say it's a message of looking at all the long-term bonds in your life and reviewing who you're loyal to, who you want to keep and revive or go deeper with, and who maybe you've overlooked or just lost touch with, and go back and really solidify those emotional bonds, because it's just such a beautiful thing, right? This relationship he has with his old dog, and they both are loving and loyal towards each other. So if you're having any issues questioning loyalties or wondering if you can be loyal, I don't know, that would be the thing to look at that would transform your life the most, is loyalty. Chunky messages today. All right, Capricorn. Very nice. Your message is the sun. So to me, that's a super clear message. What would transform you the most is joy. Joy. Stop thinking about the future so much. Stop worrying and planning so far ahead for a little bit. Just stop and raise your hands up to the sun and be in today. Today is good. Today is enough. And playfulness and joy, your inner child. You need sunlight. You need the outdoors. You need colors. She's even wearing like loose, flowy clothing. Maybe you need to put on something that makes you feel free and beautiful when you move in it. But this is all about letting yourself shine and just trusting that you can be here now and let go and be joyful and free, and you're still going to be safe, and you're still going to get to where you need to go. It's a tough one for Capricorns, I know sometimes, but I love that. It's a beautiful message for you. All right, Aquarius. Oh, and we bring back the Two of Swords. So, crows and crows and crows. So, what did we say? Is she being tangled or is she being untangled? Are they pulling on her hair to warn her and awaken her? Are they accompanying her? She doesn't look like she's being attacked, though, does she? She's very calm. She's not frantically waving them away. She's allowing it. She's got her blindfold on. She doesn't know what's going to happen next. But these crows are definitely there to show her that things are changing, and they're moving around her head, which could be a lot of things about, the biggest transformation you might need to make is to just trust that you can't plan everything ahead and control it right now. It's pretty hard. And to change or maybe transformation on the level of your thoughts. Looking at your, what thoughts do you typically think? Do you struggle with certain thoughts, repetitive thoughts, or do you, like the crows, if you see them as attacking, do you attack yourself mentally? Do you feel like you're always defending your ideas, or do you feel misunderstood a lot? Do you, are there, those limiting beliefs that we have to take a look at, how we thought things should be. And because she looks, again, she's calm, and she's just sort of going, like she's sort of bracing herself a little, but she's not really like, oh no, she's allowing this. But it's like, okay, you're telling me something. You're all around my head. You're telling me something. So it's sort of like, let yourself shift your thinking, shift your ideas. And the blindfold is like trusting things. The Two of Swords sometimes is like, because it's usually two swords, it's, they're usually crisscrossed, and she has to make a choice between two different directions and two different thoughts. And a lot of the time, it's the water and the sky behind her that I feel drawn to. And it feels like if you're stuck too much, tangled in your head, you need to step out by getting into your intuition instead of your logic. And finally, Pisces, what is your card? And you have the Page of Swords. Very interesting. Walking the tightrope on tiptoes while reading a book, while holding balloons that look like light bulbs, and looks like there's a couple of falcons there. I'm not a bird expert, but that's my first feeling, is maybe falcon. This is like a super cool card. I love that she's just, and even though that's an air sign card, it feels very Piscean to me. These birds are they're attracted to her energy. All of those balloons that look like light bulbs are all of these great ideas, and there's many of them, and they're floating her and carrying her across this little bridge. She doesn't even have to look down or worry about her safety, because she's so focused on her book. It's pretty cool. I would say your transformation then comes the most from the realm of, learning and ideas and expansion, and also from faith, and trust to, let yourself be so immersed in what you're learning, the joy of it, the learning, the focus, the uplift from all these new ideas, that it looks like you can have faith. You'll be guided through what you need to do next. You don't have to be so hyper vigilant. That's an interesting message. All right. Well, I hope this has been helpful. And again, if you want to reach me for a reading or anything else, courses, or you're interested in my books, please reach me at river-rain.com. Clairvoyant Medium Catherine Allen on Facebook, Catherine River Rain on Instagram, or just message me here on YouTube, and I will do my best to help you. All right. Happy full moon. Enjoy and trust your inspirations and transformation energy right now.